Dear students, welcome back to our third session related to constructor and destructor chapter. In this session, we are going to study about copy constructor. In previous sessions, we have studied what is a constructor, then default constructor and parameterized constructor related syntax, example, features, everything we have seen. Today, copy constructor related discussion we will do. So, what is a copy constructor and its syntax and a few situation where we can invoke copy constructor, that related discussion we will do. Along with this, destructor related concept also we will discuss today. So, what is a copy constructor? That textbook definition we will study initially. So, copy constructor is a parameterized constructor using which one object can be copied to another object. So, it is also one parameterized constructor. Using this, one object can be copied to another object. So, one special concept you can see here. So, copy means one object related information we can copy into another object. That speciality we can observe here. That is what copy constructor. So, see, copy constructors are used to initialize object with values of already existing object. So, already we have some objects, its values we can initialize, that means its values we can pass to another object. That speciality we can observe here. With syntax and example we will discuss, then you will understand clearly. So, copy constructor means it is also one parameterized constructor only, where one object related information can be copied to another object. So, this is actually syntax of copy constructor. This is actually explicit syntax we can see, because in many cases based on that situation copy constructor will be invoked automatically by compiler, but still it is possible to write copy constructor like this using this particular syntax. So, class name which is followed by scope resolution operator, 4 dots indicate scope resolution operator, then class name once again we have to write, then inside bracket, inside parenthesis once again class name, ampersand obj, ampersand means and symbol, obj, semicolon. So, in this example we can see test, just imagine test is a class name which is followed by scope resolution, which is followed by dot dot, 4 times we have to write, that is scope resolution operator, then test once again class name, and inside bracket test and obj, obj is a object name. So, like this it is possible to call copy constructor explicitly. This is actually writing copy constructor outside the class definition, because see students, the scope resolution operator indicates calling outside the class definition. So, see, this is actually explicit syntax of copy constructor, but need not be necessary in all the cases, because in many situations automatically it will be invoked by compiler. That situations we have to discuss today. So, when copy constructor is invoked, that situations we will see one by one. First situation they will say copy constructor need not be invoked explicitly, that means based on situation copy constructor can be invoked automatically by compiler. Some situation will be possible, in that situation automatically it will be invoked by compiler. So, that first situation we will discuss. So, copy constructor is invoked automatically when a new object is created and equated or assigned to an already existing object in the declaration statement itself. So, whatever sentence is present here, that related example we can see here. So, test A1, this is actually creation of first object. Just imagine test is a class name and A1 is the object name, which is followed by test A2 is equal to A1. What it indicates? Test A2 means creation of second object followed by assignment operator A1. That means whatever value present in variable, whatever value present in object A1, that values can be passed to object A2. So, this is how we can call copy constructor automatically. This is one situation they are explaining. We have one object A1 and we are creating second object A2 and passing first object related information or values to second object. In this situation, automatically copy constructor will be called. And next situation they will say copy constructor is invoked when a new object is declared and existing object is passed as a parameter to it in the declaration. Parameter means argument. Just to see this example, then this sentence you can create, because see, it is not necessary to remember these sentences. Don't buy anything, just remember this example. Just by looking this, you can create your own sentence, you will get marks. So, in this example you can see this is the situation where you can see test A1. So, see whatever value is given here, test A1. So, test A1, here first object we are going to create with the two values 10 and 20 respectively. And in second case test A2 of A1. So, see when new object is declared and existing object is passed as parameter to it, parameter means argument. So, see existing object means A1 here, newly created object is A2 in this case. So, see test A1, first object is having two values 10 and 20. So, second object we will create, that is A2, along with that first object we are passing as a argument. So, whenever we will pass like this first object as argument to second object, so existing object is passed as a argument to newly created object in this case. In this situation automatically copy constructor will be invoked by compiler. So, whenever we will write like this kind of structure in a program, automatically copy constructor will be called by compiler, remember. Similarly, next situation they will say, fourth situation, copy constructor is invoked when object is passed to a function using pass by value method. You know pass by value method and pass by reference method. Pass by value method means we are passing values. Similarly, pass by reference means address related reference we are going to pass. So, here in this example clearly you can see void test. See copy constructor is invoked when an object is passed to a function using pass by value method. Just observe this example, it is not entire program I am writing, just logic for your understanding purpose. Void test number n1. Just imagine test is a function name, inside void main we are creating one object, that is n2, number is a class name. Just we have to imagine number is a class name which is followed by n2, that is a object name, and see test of n2. Actually, see test is a function which is having n2, one object as a function argument. So, whenever we will use one object as function argument, in that case automatically copy constructor will be invoked by compiler. Remember students, in this situation also copy constructor will be called. Here actually see test is a function name and void main, inside void main number we have to imagine some class will be present here, that is number, n2 is a object name, and whenever I will write test of n2, that means function is having object, function with object here. See function as and object as function argument, that means object as function argument. In that case automatically copy constructor will be invoked. Fifth concept, it says copy constructor is invoked when an object returns a value. This is actually fifth situation where copy constructor is invoked. So, whenever calling function and called function concepts are used, automatically see called function will return value back to a calling function. So, whenever object returns a value, automatically copy constructor concept will be invoked by compiler. And after this concept, after this few situation, we are going to discuss about constructor overloading. So, what is a constructor overloading? Constructor overloading means same constructor name we can have with different set of values, different that means argument list. Number of arguments or type of argument should vary, but same constructor name we should have, that is what constructor overloading. So, that definition we can see, a same constructor name can be used with different argument list, that is what constructor overloading. So, always overloading gives additional meaning to the constructor by passing required arguments. So, whenever different number of argument or different types of argument present, it will give some additional meaning to the compiler. In this example, clearly we can see what is a constructor overloading. So, class name is given as test with the two data members A and B. In public section, you can see one constructor with one argument. So, here test is a constructor which is having one argument int x. So, A is equal to x, this indicates initializing part, that means value of x is given to A. And here one more constructor we can see, test with the two arguments x and y. So, this is initializing. So, x value is given to A and y value is given to B, end of constructor body. So, see here you can see two constructors here. What changes you can see? Name should be same, but it differs in number of argument. In first constructor only one argument I can see, in second constructor I can see two arguments. This is what constructor overloading. At least we should have two constructors which should change in number of arguments or type of argument. That is what constructor overloading. So, any number of constructors can be written within a single class. There is no restriction, we can have any number of constructors within a single class. A class can have any number of constructors. In this case, you can see a constructor with three data members A, B and C. In public section, always constructor should be defined. Here three parameterized constructors you can see. Test, this is actually first constructor with one argument. Test, it is actually second constructor with two argument, and test, here you can see third constructor with three arguments. And initializing part also you can see inside constructor body. So, whenever you will see multiple constructors inside a single class, that concept is called constructor overloading. So, this is also possible. So, we can have any number of constructors within a single class. And one more point they will say, during object creation, depending on type and number of argument passed, the compiler decides which constructor should be invoked. So, during object creation itself, our compiler decides which constructor should be invoked, because everything is based on number of values present along with the object. So, see in this example inside void main you can see, because see students, every program execution starts with void main function. So, here you can see test T1, that means creation of first object with one value. So, constructor with one argument should be invoked. It should match, it should search for its matching one argument constructor. Similarly, whenever you will encounter test T2 of 20 and 40, here you can see two values along with the object T2, that means constructor with two argument is invoked. Similarly, test T3 of 50, 70, 90, here you can see constructor with three arguments. That means matching three argument constructor, it should search. That is how they are saying, depending on object creation, it will search for required type of constructor. So, during object creation itself, it will decide which constructor it should invoke. That is what this point says. And after that, one small example program we will discuss here to calculate simple interest using constructor overloading concept. In this you can see P, T, R and SI. Hope you know what is the formula to find out a simple interest. Simple interest is equal to P, T, R by 100, that formula we are using. So, see here one small example program. Here you can observe class name is given as simple interest, and in private section you can see P, T, R, SI, these are variables, and in public section you can see one default constructor. Why I can say this is default constructor? Because there is no return type and it is defined in public section, and there is no argument inside bracket. That is why it is considered as default constructor, and some initializing we have to do inside this default constructor body. So, P is equal to 0.0, T equal to 0.0 and R equal to 0.0. Why it is given 0.0? Because everything is declared as float. And then one more constructor you can observe here, simple interest, with some arguments, that is why it is called parameterized constructor. Now something is initialized here, PTR, it should take some values. So whatever values x, y, z it will receive, that values will be passed to PTR respectively. And then that formula we have to write using compute function, SI is equal to PTR by 100. Display function also necessary so that we can display the result. And see, every program execution initially starts with void main section, simple interest S1, that means creation of object. Immediately program, you know, whenever we will create any object, automatically program control will move to default constructor. So immediately simple interest S1, it will transfer program control to this particular default constructor. So PTR values are initialized as 0.0. Now after completion of this execution, after completion of this computation, simple interest S2, now we are going to supply 3 values, that is 10,000.0, 2.0, 12.0 here. So 3 values we are going to pass, so it should match that 3 argument constructor. So it should search for that 3 argument constructor. So here it will get that 3 argument constructor. So float x, float y and float z, it will receive these 3 values. So 10,000 will be received by x and y value will become 2 and z value will be 12 in this case. So that x, y, z value will be given to PTR respectively. So P will become 10,000, T will be 2.0 and R value will become 12.0 in this case. So after completion of these 2 constructor part, so this is actually default constructor it will invoke, and this will invoke parameterized constructor, and then S2.compute function, it will call this particular member function and it will perform this operation PTR by 100. So whatever value will be given to PTR, that is P value is 10,000 and T value is 2 and R value is 12, that will be multiplied, divided by 100 it will do, and then after completion of this operation, S2.display function, it will display the result. So principal amount is, that result it will display, principal amount is 10,000 and time is 2 and rate of interest is 12 and simple interest value it will display as 2,400. So this is how constructor overloading works. Here you can see 2 constructor, one default constructor, one parameterized constructor, but constructor name should be same, it differs in number of argument. This is what overloading concept that you can observe here. After completion of this topic constructor, so 3 types of constructors are completed, default, parameterized and copy constructor. After that, destructor concept we have to study. So what is a destructor? So a destructor is a special member function that will be executed automatically when an object is destroyed. That means whatever memory will be supplied with the help of constructor, that we are going to deallocate with the help of destructor, that we are going to remove using destructor. Remember students. So destroying an object means deallocating memory that was allocated for object by constructor. So destroy means deallocation of memory. We have to remove that memory whatever is supplied by constructor. So always remember students, name of the destructor is same as that of class preceded by tilde symbol. Remember students, if my class name in public section, if class name is given as ABC, if class name is given as ABC, in public section ABC open close, open bracket close bracket, here we can have some constructor body, and if you will write like this tilde ABC, some message you can give, this is actually destructor. So whatever we will supply, that same syntax you can write for destructor also, but preceded by a tilde symbol. You can see tilde symbol or tilde symbol we will write like this, that will indicate a destructor. So the destructor rules we will observe initially. So always destructor name is same as that of class name. If class name is ABC, then constructor name should also be ABC. Similarly, destructor name should also be ABC. It should match. And then the first character of destructor should always tilde symbol. Remember, there is no preceding symbol for constructor, whereas in case of destructor there should be a prefix tilde symbol. Remember this. And third point says destructors do not have return value. Just like constructor, no void keyword, no int keyword is used for destructor also. Constructor also, it is not having any return type, not even void, that you know. Similarly, destructor is also not having any return type specifier, not even void. And then they are always declared in public section, just like constructor. It should not be defined in private or protected section. Always destructor is declared or defined in public section. Then syntax of a destructor we will see. Class name, private section, nothing we are writing. That means it should be defined always in public section. So private, any data members you can have. In public section, class name, open bracket, close bracket, semicolon, it indicates one constructor. This is syntax for constructor. Similarly, same syntax but preceded by tilde symbol, it indicates a destructor. So always destructor symbol, destructor should have one prefix, that is tilde symbol, then close semicolon, it indicates end of class definition. One small example we will observe here. Class name is given as account. In private section we have float balance, one data member is given. In public section you can see account, that means it is a constructor because class name and constructor name should be same always. And in public section once again you can see one more account, you can see tilde account symbol, it indicates a destructor. Always remember students, constructor name and destructor name should match, and always it should be declared in public section, but always destructor name should begin with tilde symbol. And a few notes I will give related to destructor. Common use of destructor is to be used for deallocation of memory that was allocated for the object by constructor. Main intention of using destructor is to remove memory whatever is supplied by constructor. So deallocation of memory will be done with the help of destructor. And then destructors do not take any argument, therefore destructors cannot be overloaded. So see, constructors can be overloaded, especially parameterized constructors we will overload, because same constructors can have different number of arguments or different types of arguments. That is why overloading is possible in case of constructors, whereas destructor overloading is not possible because it will not take any argument. If it will take any argument, then only we can do overloading, otherwise it is not possible. So one small example program, it will indicate how destructor works. So just observe here, in this example you can see two header files, you can see iostream.h and conio.h, which is followed by class name is given, that is num number. Then private section, some data members we can have. In public section, num, that means it is a constructor name, it is a default constructor. Why we can say it is default constructor? Because there is no argument present in bracket. Then one message is given, I am constructor, close. See, no initialization we are doing here, just we are observing here, just we are giving one small message. And see, tilde symbol num, it indicates it is a destructor. So inside this destructor body we are writing one message, that is I am destructor. So always it indicates, so always tilde symbol indicates it is a destructor. So it is the indication for your compiler that it will be a destructor. And close flower bracket semicolon, that is end of class definition, which is followed by void main section, you can see num a. So whenever I will write num a, this is called object creation. Num is a class name, a is a object name. So whenever I will write like this, automatically program control will move to constructor. So first it will display constructor. Always whenever you will create one object, program control will move to constructor. After execution of constructor, program control will move to destructor. So whatever is memory that is allocated by constructor, that we are going to deallocate with the help of destructor, that you can observe here. So, first message here you can observe I am constructor, and next message whatever it will display is I am destructor. So, two messages it will display back to back, one is of constructor, one more is because of destructor. So, this is how constructor and destructor concept works. So, see students, in third session, this is actually our third session related to constructor destructor chapter. In this session, we have discussed what is a copy constructor, its syntax, its examples, as well as some invoking methods of copy constructor, that is actually very important. In examination also they can ask what is copy constructor, right? Its syntax and example they can ask. Similarly, invoking method or features of copy constructor they can ask. Copy constructor invoking methods or different situation where we can call copy constructor they can ask, or else write features of copy constructor, like that also they can ask. That same answer we have to write, that is important. For 5 mark also they can ask this question. Similarly, which is followed by what is a constructor overloading, explain with suitable example, they can ask for examination, that also we have to study, that also they can ask for 2 or 5 marks. And then destructor, what is a destructor, they can ask what is a destructor, write its syntax and example, they can ask for 2 mark or 3 marks. And then write features of destructor they can ask. Similarly, explain destructor with suitable logic. One small example we have to remember always students, its syntax we have to remember, as well as small logic we have to remember, so that easily we can frame our own sentences. So, whatever they will ask, easily we can write in the examination. So, always remember students, in our subject especially, do not by heart anything, just try to understand the logic, that is very important. If you know logic, anyhow we can frame the sentence and you can survive in the examination also. So, nothing to worry, study well, all the best.